Join the zone at the Hans and Scotty Invitational at the Cedar Hills Golf Club. Hans and Scotty will be broadcasting live from the tournament Tuesday, August 19th from noon to 3.
What a badminton tournament for us.
No. Pickleball, not badminton. I tried to play badminton. That was just totally frustrating. My grandparents had it in the backyard. I was like 6 years old. I'm like, this is terrible. I'm not doing this again. I was out in elementary school. I'm done.
Yeah, but you're not going to play.
Oh, I'm
so
not?
It doesn't matter.
Oh.
No.
We're just going to walk around shaking hands?
No, we got the show to do. And so they meet in the morning, and then they play, and then afterward, yeah.
Hand over some trophies, pose for some photos.
Right.
Okay. Got a question up on our Facebook page here. We have multiple ones up today. It was quite the day. There was so much going on yesterday. Big 12 is going to have player availability reports for conference football and basketball games. Don't we all support this? Jason, useless noise. Frank, we all support it, and I'm not so sure the coaches will, starting with Witt.
They have to.
They do have to. And he always said, I'd be okay with it if everyone did it.
He did.
So now everyone's doing it.
Yeah. So I expect detailed reports.
That's what it comes down to. How much honesty are we going to get? Our guys going to be listed as probable 3 days out and then questionable 2 days out and then out right before the game? Well, we really had high hopes for him, but it didn't
Have
work
some
out.
integrity.
Or play games.
No. And it might, get this, man, it might add 20 seconds to his media availability.
Oh, boy. It's unacceptable. On the other hand, with all the pro sports out there, it gets people talking about your team. When do you want people talking about your team? If you need some pub on Tuesday, on Tuesday, go ahead and change the rules and say, we got to have something 4 days before the game.
I think it relates to gambling,
yeah.
And we view gambling as seedy. But nevertheless, gambling has exploded. It's all over the place. It's legal in so many different areas and ways and places that it wasn't. And so my line of thinking is it's here to stay. And with that in mind, let's regulate it as much as possible. And so doing what the NFL has done, which is essentially the injury reports are related to the gambling, go ahead and acknowledge it rather than, well, I'm just going to pretend that it doesn't exist and bury my head, even though I know full well it does exist and I know millions, if not billions, are being bet on our particular sport. So go ahead and then try to make it as regulated and as universal as possible so the actual seediness of it will be taken out of it.
Don't you find, though, that as much as this is about gambling, clearly, and Steve Sarkisian at Texas, the former Cougar quarterback, had a great bite about this last year. Like, go ahead and do this like the NFL, because everybody in the program, down to assistant equipment and student managers, they're all getting calls about, did you see so-and-so on crutches or in a boot or, with a cast on their arm or whatever. Right, and they're all just getting bothered by it. But right now, looking at Twitter, the Lions just sent something out. Coach Campbell on Terrion Arnold returning to practice today. Even the fans who aren't gambling, are curious about who can play and who can't and what that means. It's just people getting drawn deeper into your sport and into your business. So if they're gamblers, obviously there's a benefit to this. But if you're not gambling, there's still a benefit to this. You get people obsessing about your sport, that's great for the people running the business and the sport.
Yeah, but I think 90% of it is tied to gambling, and I don't have a problem with that. Gambling, we've made it legal, and until they change those laws, that's the way it's going to be. So try to have boundaries around that as much as possible. Now, it'll be interesting to see, because it is new, and these coaches, they still think that it's a competitive disadvantage and a competitive advantage for the other guy. I think it's so overblown. I just think when the game is going on, whether I knew Johnny was going to take a handoff or not, if Johnny's that important, then I already know about Johnny. I've already scouted him. If he's literally a difference maker, then I already know what Johnny can do. So if Johnny doesn't play, I'm okay. If he does play, I've watched him and I've scouted him many times before, so I'm ready for Johnny either way. If he goes, if he doesn't go. And you get in these situations here where you have a limited time to prepare for an opponent, right? And so they don't have that much time to, speaking of the team that holds out Johnny, to just revamp that. We're going to revamp the offense starting on Monday. When you come in here Monday, man, everything that we've done for the prior 6 weeks, it's out the window because Johnny ain't going to play. And so we're going to change everything, and we're really going to surprise the opponent. That's not reality, man. That does not happen. That's a bunch of crap. That's a bunch of coaches just, they're wrapping themselves up in a big old ball and getting twisted and just bogged down on this stuff. Why worry about all that, man? Just do what you do. You're sending a message to your team. Hey, we need to play mental games because we're not good enough to beat this other team. Come on, man. What about line up, hat on hat? We're going to push you back. We're going to own the line of scrimmage and dominate you. I mean, you're sending how many mixed messages? I thought you're a tough guy here, and you're going to play football, and we're just going to beat the holy you-know-what out of you. And now all of a sudden we're worried about the backup tight end, and we got to play games with that, whether he can go or not? What is that?
20 years ago, when USC was having its awesome run under Pete Carroll and Texas was peaking with Vince Young, and they were still doing it. It was the very end of the Coaches Show era. And for 2 years, I had to do the Coaches Show with Kyle. And we're sitting there, and, you got to hurry up and wait, right? And the conversation turned to Norm Chow leaving USC. And I said, that's got to hurt him. I mean, they got a lot of talent. They're still going to be awesome. But that's got to hurt him in one or two close games. You get somebody who's new and much less experienced. And to your point about these coaches know these rosters, and this isn't like in September probably, Kyle says, I get your point, but they have so much talent and they're good enough, they'll figure it out because they have that much talent. And then he pauses, he goes, unless they get Texas in a bowl game. Texas in a bowl game, that, you're right, that could be where it gets them. And sure enough, USC goes undefeated and loses to Texas in a bowl game. And, did USC blow it because Reggie Bush was on the sideline on 4th and 1? And like, how does Kyle know USC's and Texas roster in an era when they're in the Mountain West and he's not coming close to recruiting their rosters? But he knows them all. He knows them all. And now I think in the transfer portal era, when you have to know more than ever, because the guy, if the school's way above you in the pecking order, well, their backup may transfer looking for playing time, so you need to know about them. And if the school's below you in the pecking order and somebody's all conference, you may need to grab them. More than ever, these guys know each other's rosters forward and backwards. And it was amazing to me that Kyle knew USC's and Texas roster in September and could predict what was going to happen. Yeah, but it's a one-possession game if they meet in a bowl game.
Oh, that doesn't amaze me. You're exposed to the same players.
It goes back to the thing you had with I think it was Kalani about because you met the kid making the sandwich, and he just looks like an athlete. Like, oh, do you play sports? Oh yeah, I play football. You getting recruited? Oh yeah. And then you're just killing time getting a sandwich in Southern California and come talk to coaches here, and they know all about him.
They did, and
he's not committed at that point. It's still early in the process. It's he could go anywhere.
Yeah, I think he was going to his junior year.
They knew him forwards and backwards.
Yeah. So I think all of it is overstated, and I do think fans want to know. I agree with you there. Mm-hmm. So just let them say this guy's in, he's out, or and there is some stuff that you won't know. I don't buy the game time decision deal. I think that's a bunch of nonsense. And then they're telling you, if you read the thing, is that this has got to be done 3 hours before. You've got to list an official in or out 3 hours before. So game time, somehow that became a cliche, and everyone's that is in those situations, it's going to be a game time decision. I can recall one time I had something bothering me, and I needed to go hit balls before I could decide whether I could actually play golf or something. And I told my friend, I said, I'm going to be a tee time decision.
You get a laugh.
Yeah. You ought to know whether they're going to do it. Just go ahead and do it, and don't play games with it. And if I think your credibility is at stake too. And then if you start doing stuff, because if you lie to me one time, how do I know you're not going to lie to me 3 and 4 and 5 times?
I just wonder how many people, I think Bill Belichick did this with the Patriots at one point. He got upset about injury reports or something, and he put a bunch of people on it trying to make a point. Once you put people in the probable and the questionable, then they're either in or out, and you're just kind of like, well, I told you that might happen.
Yeah, but Belichick looks for ways to be perturbed.
He does. But don't you think some college football coaches look for ways to be perturbed?
Depending on
How
their
much they
status.
win.
Belichick,
How much
if
they
Belichick
win, yeah.
was in Cleveland, no, he wouldn't have done that because he
Right.
was fighting to maintain his spot. Dennis Rodman did not put on a wedding dress when he was trying to make the Pistons. It wasn't until he became a player that he can do all that stuff. It's
So
the same thing.
if you're at Arizona and you just had a bad year in your first year, you're probably not going to mess around. But if you're at USC and you have a contract for millions of dollars into the next decade, you can mess around.
Right. Why do I have no idea what Will Hardy's political affiliation is, but why do I know all about Kurz and Popovich's? Because they've won multiple titles and their jobs are secure, and so they can get out there and rant and rave and tell us what they think, and now we know what they think 100 times over, so you don't have to tell us anymore. We know what your stance is on everything. Once you get a little leverage, what's the point of having it if you don't use it, right? So I think Belichick here, I haven't been following what he's doing in Carolina, but my guess is he's been a little more accommodating because he has to sell it now. There's a reason why I once had Mick Dennehy stopping at the 7-Eleven and calling me when he was the Utah State coach and calling me back because they needed as much publicity as possible. And so Utah State traditionally has bent over backwards to accommodate media. A couple years back when they had the good basketball team under the coach over who's now at Washington, I went down to cover the conference tournament, and I asked to interview a couple of players. And we were in a hotel room. They cordoned off the bedroom, and I sat on the bed and interviewed 2 or 3 of those players because they want as much publicity as possible. And it depends on who you are and what status do you have, right? And there was a time you can go up there and do whatever you want. Now, 3 minutes, what do you hear?
2 minutes. The quarterback's done at 2 minutes and 35 seconds. So somewhere around 2 minutes. Last question.
Yeah. Because they're selling out and they've reached a status that they can do that. Everybody does that. They're no different. I'm not picking on them.
That's fine, but then the schools that do that, I don't want to hear about your lack of NIL money.
Well, that's a new world.
It is, but adjust to the new world. Yeah. Sold-out stadiums are awesome, but it's no longer enough in a world where, Kansas is getting $300 million gifts. And we will get to that next. DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone.